You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the number one horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida, and you're listening to Horses in the Morning for August the 29th, episode 3508. Good morning, Horse World. Well, today would normally be dark for the show, as it is the fifth Thursday of the month. This week, though, we lost the artist Ron Krajewski. You all know him better for Painted by Metro, the Facebook page that has become so popular. By all accounts, he was a really nice guy who loved to help others remember their pets through his work, especially Metro. We had a chance to speak with him all the way back October 19th of 2015. I thought in Ron's honor we would play this for you again. It was during our not-so-good live recording days, but the sound is good enough and you'll be able to hear him just fine. Ron was very open at the end about his ailments, stage 4 cirrhosis and lung disease. His artwork will still be available in print, though, so you'll still be able to get it. He signed a licensing agreement with his good friend Brian, and they'll continue to print and fill orders and then give 10% of that to his wife, Wendy, so she has some spending money to add to her retirement income. Ron said, "We didn't want to see my artwork disappear, so this works out great for everyone involved," and I really do think it does, and I'm going to go get a piece of that today. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's an Amazon page, so it makes it easy to buy some of the artwork and also to help support Wendy. Rest in peace, Ron, and our best to your family, friends, and, of course, to Metro. Well, speaking of OTTBs, there's a lot of them, 300 of them descending upon Kentucky right now we've been talking about it for months. You guys all know what it is. Well, there's one of them that's hanging out in Pennsylvania. He's retired, and he's just become an artist, and that is Metro Meteor is his name, and we're going to hear his story because he's doing some amazing things up there in one of my favorite towns of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and we have Ron on with us this morning. Good morning, Ron.
Yeah, good morning, Glenn and Jamie. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's so good to have you here. You know, we lived in Carlisle and used to come down to Gettysburg, stay in a bed and breakfast there once a year. Just loved everything about Gettysburg. Jennifer used to go riding there when they allowed riding on the battlefield. It is just one of the neatest towns ever. So the fact that Metro gets to go retire there, that's a pretty good deal. Yeah,
he's got it pretty good. I mean, all he has to do is paint a few hours a week, and the rest of the time is just leisure time for him.
Now, you're an artist, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you paint? What kind of art do you do?
I do mainly pet portraits. You know, people send me a picture, and I'll send them back a watercolor, portrait of their pet. The abstract is kind of a new thing for me. I've always been interested in it, but Metro has a lot more success at it than I do.
It's funny how that works, huh?
Yeah.
So now let's talk about Metro a little. He was foaled in 2003. He was a sprint horse, right?
Yeah, he was a turf horse, grass sprints.
And he spent most of his time at Belmont up in New York?
Yeah, he was at Belmont and Saratoga, and he was pretty successful up there. He won 8 races, just shy of $300,000, but then he was plagued with knee problems. He had 2 knee surgeries, when he was a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and he was prone to bone chips, and the knees got the best of him, and he ended up at Penn National, and that's where we met him and adopted him off the track there at the end of his career.
Oh, by the way, if you end up at Penn National, you're on your way out. So that's for most horses. Yeah,
Yeah, you're.
Now, was he? Yeah. So, did you adopt him right from the track? Did you get him right from the track?
Yeah, we were actually involved in a racing partnership with a place called Renfrew Stables. It's one of those, you can buy as little as 3% of a racehorse for, a few $100. Mm-hmm. And Metro was one of the horses. I mean, we only had him for one race, and when they were looking for a home for him, he was done racing. Then when they were looking for a home for him, we took him. We knew nothing about horses. He was totally the wrong horse for us, but we just fell in love with him and made the best of it.
Well, it is interesting you say that. I didn't realize that you didn't know much about horses when you got Metro. I didn't know that side of the story.
Yeah, my experience with horses was riding them around in a circle with a seatbelt on the saddle when I was a little kid. At the Woodland Park Zoo. That was it.
So now, did you get him as a riding horse, or did you just figure I'll just throw him out in the backyard to be a cute pet?
No, we got him hoping for some light trail riding. My wife, had some horse experience when she was a kid, always wanted a horse. We got him for her. And then when we got him off the track, we found out how bad his knees were and that it'd be a long time, if any, that if he was ever going to be rideable again. So, I told her, I said, you go get a horse you can ride, and I'll take Metro. He'll be my horse. I'll find something to do with him.
And then you found out, from what I read from a vet, that the vet basically said you're not going to have very much time with this horse because of his knees.
Yeah, and the vet actually, his knees were so bad that he was getting bone growth in his knees, and she actually only gave him 1 or 2 years left before his knees would lock up. And that's part of the neat story about him, is that when he started painting, the money that he was earning from painting actually financed this experimental treatment she set up. And that back then it was Tildren. It wasn't approved by the USDA back then. We had to import it from Europe. And she set up this special treatment for him, all financed by his art, and ended up saving his life and reversing the bone growth.
Wow. So how did you discover, one day did he pick up the paintbrush and do it himself? Or he'd walk in the studio and say, I want to paint today? Or how'd that happen?
Well, he's got this big personality where he's always got to be the center of attention. You go into the bar and he's the one who's got the big floor-to-ceiling head bob, trying to get your attention. And, I'd watch him bob his head, and from the very first day of ours, and we said, if I could ever teach him to hold a paintbrush, he's going to paint some houses or something with it. And then when it came the day when we were told we could, no longer ride him, it was like, well, let's see if we can teach him to paint now. Teach him to hold that brush and see what he can do with it.
And how'd you get selling the paintings then? How did that start?
Basically, it started out as just a way to spend time with this horse. He needed a job. I love spending time with him. He couldn't do the normal things that horses can do. He's not going to carry a rider. He's not going to jump. And I just wanted to find something that I can do with him to spend time together. And so we started doing that, and then the paintings look really good. I'm teamed up with him. I pick the colors. I give him a chance of success, and he makes these brush strokes. They're just big, thick, bold, beautiful brush strokes that I can't do. And we were able to make some really nice paintings out of it. And we started selling them at the local gallery, and they just started flying off the walls. He started getting some news coverage. He's been at People Magazine. He's been on the Today Show. The paintings are pretty good. And we finance his vet treatments, and we're selling so many paintings that, maybe we can help other horses with this. And then we started donating half the proceeds to, New Vocations Racehorse Adoption Program. And, they're helping find homes for racehorses and second careers. And it's kind of been, his second calling, where he's actually, painting and helping other horses.
Well, we've had New Vocations on here many, many times, and we love them. And I love the fact that you're now helping them out too, finding homes for other OTTBs. Does he, how some artists tend to be moody, right? Right? I was an actor too. We all have our good days, and we have our days where we're just not into it. Is he that way too? Some days you bring out the paintbrush and he's going, I ain't doing that today.
Yeah, he's as temperamental as they get. He never refuses to paint. He will paint. I let him out of the stall. He runs right to that easel. That's what he loves to do. We can paint outside. I can take his easel outside, put it on top of fresh spring grass, and he can walk out anytime and graze on fresh spring grass, but he's going to stay at that easel and paint. For some reason, he just loves it. And yeah, he's got that artist
is the paint? Maybe he's getting high off the fumes. Maybe that's what he likes.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, he's addicted to it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I need to start hiding the paints when I leave the barn at night.
They are really good, actually, and I can see why they're selling. And you do a good job of picking out the colors for them, so they all have a color palette. Which is what I kind of like. If you let them just pick whatever colors, then I don't think they'd sell as well. But you really do a good job of picking colors that go together. So
and we'll build it up in layers. I mean, we can't throw oranges and blues and all that on the canvas at the same time because he just kind of smears it together. So when we build it up in layers, so like say we do blue one day and let it dry, next day we do orange, then we come back the next day with some blue and build it up, and all these colors kind of show through and they vibrate off each other, and it really has a nice effect. I mean, with his brush strokes.
Now, does he do his signature by himself, Metro, or does he get help with that?
I write his name on there. He does. Now we're signing books. I mean, I can put a pen in his mouth. He's got a coloring book out now called Coloring with Metro, and we've been selling we've been selling autograph copies, which we're donating 100% of the proceeds to New Vocations. And I'll hold the book up, put a pen in his mouth, and he'll scribble on the page. And
unbelievable.
And so he's got his own autograph, but it kind of looks like a doctor's signature.
Now, do you now tell us about the coloring book, because that's a great Christmas gift idea.
Yeah, it's neat. What it does is I will do half of the drawing. I'll draw a picture of Metro or one of his barn buddies, and then I will bring it in and I'll hand him the paint pen, and he just kind of scribbles his organic shapes all over it. So what you have is a picture of a horse with a whole bunch of scribbles all over it that Metro did. But when you start to color in the organic shapes that he makes and you start to color in the horse, it has this really neat stained glass effect. And they're
exactly
kind of
what I was
paintings
thinking.
in their own.
Yeah, it looks like stained glass on top of a horse painting, and it's really cool. You could be so creative to paint something like that. What a great idea this was.
Yeah, I mean, this horse just surprises me every day with what he's willing to do and what he can do. He's an amazing horse.
I'm looking at some of these, and I mean, they range in price from what I saw some on Etsy for $50, and then up to maybe $400 for the original ones. And some of these, I would definitely hang them on my wall.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you go into a gallery and see a bunch of abstracts out and throw a Metro in there, you're not going to know it's painted by a horse.
That's really cool.
It stands alone on its own.
And who doesn't want to have an abstract painting that's done by a horse? I mean, at least the horse has an excuse for doing abstract. I'm not too sure about some of the humans that do abstract. So I get the horse doing it. I can get that. I don't get a lot of the others, but I kind of get this. I would definitely do that. What a neat idea. And I'm so glad that he's taken to his job. That's just so cool to hear about horses doing things that you don't expect them to do.
Yeah, and I can't believe how much he likes doing it. He just really enjoys painting. He loves standing at that easel. I'm ready to quit long before he is. He will stay there and paint with me all day if I want to stay and paint all day.
Well, how long does it take him to do a painting? I know you do it in layers, so
We'll usually have, 3 or 4 going at a time. We'll spend 10, 20 minutes a day on each one. We'll let it dry and come back and add some more the next day. So, it takes, little sessions over the course of 3, 4, or 5 days before we have one done.
That is so cool. What a neat idea. What a neat idea. What a neat horse. And where can people find him if they want to buy him?
His website is paintedbymetro.com. Everything that's available, he can get on his website. Smaller ones we sell through his websites. The bigger ones go to Gallery 30 in Gettysburg. He's been the best-selling artist there since he's been there, which is kind of,
That's
so
awesome.
their best-selling artist of the horse is kind of neat.
Well, that is pretty cool. That's really neat. Well, I got to tell you, I'm very impressed. Now, another thing we have to mention is your blog. What's the blog address?
It's Painted by Metro on the blog. You can get through there. I have a link through his website, paintedbymetro.com.
Because my wife this morning spent hours reading your past blog post and kept saying, this guy's a really good writer. This guy's a really good writer. Don't mention the blog to the listeners or they will waste a morning just reading the blog. So that's a compliment, I got to tell you.
Yeah, actually, that's an old blog. I haven't done that. I got that. I started that blog before he had a painting career, and it was more or less just about someone who knows nothing about horses, having just this temperamental racehorse off the track and having to learn on him. I haven't added to that blog in so long, but I think it's called Retraining the Racehorse.
Yeah, but she said it was fascinating to read the steps that you went through. You know what the emotions. Yeah,
and we've put all those stories together, and Metro's got a book that's coming out from New Horizon Press in April called Painting with Metro, and it's going to be his whole life story and how I had to learn about horses with him and how he advanced from being, a difficult off-the-track thoroughbred to a painting horse who helps other horses. It's kind of a neat book, and, someday it'll make a good Disney movie, his life story.
Well, that's true. Well, I hope you get that someday. I really do. And as I said, if anybody goes to Pennsylvania and you have not visited Gettysburg, then stop by. And when you're there, go to Gallery 30. But you definitely have to see Gettysburg too. It's one of those places that you just have to do once in your lifetime. So
yeah, and I even got to ride him on the battlefield a couple times back when he was.
Do they still allow it?
They have designated horse trails. You can't go off the trails.
Okay.
But yeah, they do allow riding there, and there's several companies that will take you riding on the battlefield.
Yeah, I knew they had some trail ride guys that were there. I didn't know if they were still there. Well, that's neat. I'm glad that's still allowed because that's a magical way to see it.
Yeah, it is
for sure. Well, there's so much history there. It's really cool. Well, thank you so much, Ron, for joining us. It's paintedbymetro.com. Get your painting for the holidays. I imagine they're going to sell out, so you want to get in line now.
Yeah, he's a pretty popular artist.
What does he do over the holidays? You probably keep that brush in 24 hours a day. Metro.
Yeah,
stop eating. Paint. I can see it now. Thank you, Ron.
Give him a carrot from us.
All right. Take care, Ron.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye.
I would so buy one of these.
Yeah, they're really neat. They're really cool. And the fact that 50% of the proceeds go to help one of our favorite organizations as far as racehorses go. I mean, it's just so cool. New Vocations getting money out of it. And the coloring book you can get on Amazon, and it's only $6.95. So it's not like it's ridiculous.
That was a great idea. Way to do the coloring book too was to have Metro involved in creating it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, he's
horse.
Not to be whatever, but Ron is an evil genius. Like
yes,
he is an evil genius.
I know, but I can imagine Scooter. If I put it, he would knock the easel over. He would trample the thing to death.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there would be no painting. He would destroy the whole thing.
I have a 2-year-old who loves to paint. I'll get out the paints and I'll give him a paintbrush, Lucas, and let him paint. It is a total disaster, and he has opposable thumbs. I'm covered in paint. He's covered in paint. The wall, the floor, everything is covered in, thank God, washable paint. I can't imagine giving it. Hey, hold this in your teeth. That's ridiculous. It's so cool. But you know what? Monets do it, but the Monets are not even as kind of covered as these are. I mean, he really covers the canvas.